there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
We need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Trucks song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was midnight in Harlem. And it caught our attention, man. And we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 161. And I am Adam Choi. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram and on YouTube. Just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there. So please be sure to subscribe, give the show likes, comments, shares. All that stuff is definitely appreciated. Definitely subscribe as well on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I'll put out an audio version of this episode later tonight, tomorrow sometime. Shortly after this live stream, of course. We are here to recap TTB's Red Rocks shows. 726, 727, Friday and Saturday. Today is Sunday when we're recording this. We'll talk a little bit of the show. What was it in Grand Junction as well? The pre-Red Rocks show. Let's see here. Let's dive into this. We got David Flamm, who I believe it was his first Red Rocks experience this past weekend, and Mariah returning, and newcomers Zac and Gator. So let's get right into it. What's up, y'all?
Howdy.
Hello there.
Oh, what's cooking? We're all here. We made it. I know everybody is tired,
Yeah.
Especially those who traveled, David and Mariah. I definitely appreciate it. I'll try not to keep you guys too long, but I'm guessing we'll always go longer than we think we're going to go till, because we can't stop talking about this band. I want to start with, why don't we start with Zac? And you could tell me a little bit about your TTB history. Catch me up. Give me the short version, then we'll go to Gator for the same, and then we'll talk a little Grand Junction, and we'll get right into the Red Rock stuff shortly after.
All right, sounds like a plan. Everybody able to hear me okay?
Oh yeah.
All right, good deal. I found TTB after Derek Trucks Band dissolved. I kind of started seeing the Allman Brothers Band around 2001, something in there, 99 maybe even. And then I had known Susan from, first thing at the time I think I saw Susan was the fall of 2001 when she was on tour with the other ones, which was the Dead at the time. And then whenever TTB came around, it was like, wow, it was like the natural progression. The brothers eventually, they're not doing anything anymore with Greg being gone, but it's been a lot of fun. And then I started diving into the music and found myself in a Tedeschi Trucks tribute in Denver, playing with some really, really world-class musicians. So
that's so cool. What a journey. So obviously, it goes without saying how passionate you must be about this band to dedicate the time to actually have a band dedicated to just TTB entirely. That kind of says everything. Says the guy who has the podcast all about that.
Denver's a really good market for something like that. You obviously couldn't really pull it off in most cities. Most people will go, who? But in Denver, it's very well received. We got to do a few really big shows and had some great crowds, and it's been fun.
Is it because of the history of coming to Red Rocks over the years? And I guess Denver and Colorado is a jam band, let's say friendly city and region in general. Those kind of the reasons for the popularity.
Denver is definitely a jam band hub. Absolutely. It is a hub for everything eclectic music, jazz, blues, jam, Grateful Dead, Widespread Panic, Fish, everything. It's in that, like, anything in that sort of genre is, you could sell out every night. I mean, for a long time, for many years, there was a Grateful Dead band playing every single night of the week in Denver somewhere. So,
Gotcha.
But yeah.
What's the name of your band?
The band, the Tedeschi Band is Revelator, a tribute to Tedeschi Trucks Band.
Very, very cool. Yeah. I feel like I can ask a million questions just about that. And we kind of discussed, getting you back on and maybe some of your bandmates, and we could talk about what that's like and even performances, whatever you guys are down with. But I definitely want to talk about the shows. But I feel like I have so many questions, could ask so many questions just about what it's like to be in a TTB band, from musical choices to what it's like to balance, not making things your own, but like, you can't do a carbon copy exactly what they do, of course. So
it's not, it's difficult. We've got 7 of us in the band right now. The horn section is up to 3. And nice. It's been a lot of fun.
Gator, you're in that band too. Is that the connection?
Well, yeah, I've been playing around Evergreen and Denver area quite a bit in the past 5 years, getting back in, and seeing Zac and them play was real special. And Revelator is, I got to know all those guys when he was 3 Days in the Saddle. Before that was his very successful Grateful Dead cover band. And then I moved into, I just got a text from him one day rolling down the road, and he says, "I hear you're the guy that can sing 3 hours of Panic." And I was like, "Yep, that'd be me." So we started a Home Team as a spinoff of that with me and him, and Gary with the drums and everything. And it just really, it fit right in for me, because I come from Atlanta, Georgia. I found Widespread Panic and the Allman Brothers back in 1987, 88, 30 minutes outside of Athens, Georgia. And that's when I really started seeing Derek do his thing. He would come out at Lakewood Amphitheater, 10 years old, and he would just annually do Southbound. He would just come out and kill it. And, we were saying, what's up with this guy? With his Atlanta Braves hat coming in and going out. And then growing up watching him and kind of discovering the music along the same time that he was discovering it, and seeing him play with Jimmy Herron and O'Teal through the years as they're adults, and he's 15 years old, and then just watching him usher into this, leading up to everything he's done with Susan.
So you guys both have quite a history with these artists, it seems like, as fans and following. Skater, so you're from, where did you say you're from originally, and you're in Colorado now?
I'm in Colorado now. I've been here since 2006, and me and my wife moved out here, and I was born in Columbus, Georgia, right down on the Chattahoochee River, and then moved up to Atlanta, and that's when I started discovering everything, and then on over to Milledgeville, Georgia. So I've lived in that whole area, also Warner Robins, Georgia, that whole area near Macon. And that's when I discovered all of this music. There was no internet back in those days much. And there was the Creative Loafing, which was the town newspaper for Atlanta. And that was the way you found everybody. You went in the back, and that's where you saw who was playing. And then everybody would call each other. And I would see things like apartment projects is what they called it. And then you would look under that, and it would be Derek Trucks, O'Teal, Burbage, Butch Trucks, Jimmy Herron. And then you would just race down to the Smith's Old Bar where they would play that night. And it was just so sudden. And that's the word I think I have for Derek. Is just everything for me. It's just like it makes me feel present when I listen to it, and that's how I discovered all of this music and started playing it.
Hey, I might be off base. Were you in the ADA van Saturday night before the show?
Yes, I was.
So that was you I was talking to with your buddy from New York?
Yes.
I'm like, I mean, it's a small world, isn't it? That's so awesome. So Adam,
that's good. I thought I didn't recognize you there in that little square, but it's nice to see you again.
Yeah, good. So we're in the ADA van right when the storm hits, and they won't let us in, and we're all just kind of shooting the shit. And me, a big mouth, I just start chatting to Gator and his buddy sitting there. I'm standing up in the van; they're sitting there in the front row, and we just start talking music, you know. And now I'm looking at her. I said, hey, this kind of look a little like Jimmy Herring. And I said, I almost said something to you on the van. And I'm like, wait a minute, I was chatting with that dude.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. That is so awesome.
That was awesome to see, and that was a great way to usher that show in because it was a storm when it got started.
Yeah, I caught a lot of grief that night for Saturday night for the shirt I was wearing.
What was the shirt you were wearing?
Oh my God, it was so perfect.
Oh, the storm.
Yeah, I was wearing a shirt that said the storm, and so many people blamed the weather on me. You know, it was but we don't want to jump ahead too far. But I'm listening to Gator talk. I'm like, man, that sounds like some of the stuff we were talking about and everything. You know?
Yeah,
and I'm like, damn, that is him.
Yeah, I remember that.
I don't have my glasses on either, and I don't have my beautiful wife next to me, so it's might have thrown you off a little bit. But I was recognizing you. We were chatting, 1970s music and stuff like that. We were talking about Dwayne Allman and how the brothers have gone up and they were up and down through the years and stuff. So it's awesome to. Who would have thought we'd be seeing each other 24 hours later?
Yeah. Good to see you again.
That's funny. Why don't we talk a little bit about Grand Junction? In some ways, I feel like Grand Junction was kind of like night 2 of Red Rocks. It was like the warm up for night 2 of Red Rocks a little bit because we got some of these songs.
Yeah, it did. It certainly led into a few of a couple of the things that we got Saturday night.
Yeah, Mojo, do I look worried? Anyhow, into Chevrolet, take me as I am. Done somebody wrong here, my dear. Fall in. I am the moon. I want more. Idle win. Get out of my life. Into who knows? Why does love got to be so sad? Made up mind signs and let's go get stoned with the encores. So Zac and Gator, you guys were both at this show.
That is correct. Yes. Yep.
Oh, I'll give you guys the floor. Tell me about the vibe walking in, what it smelled like. What'd you eat? What'd you drink before? Who'd you see? Where are your seats? What jumped out at you from the set? I'll let you guys run the show.
I bought tickets about a month ago and then realized last minute that I didn't find anybody to go with. So I was like, who would definitely not say no to Derek Trucks? Gator, he'll definitely go. So I picked him up and we drove out. It was really, really hot day. It was about 3.5 hours from Denver, and it was like 99 degrees, I think, whenever we were standing in line. It was not fun. And it stayed hot even after the sun went down until it actually got dark. Yeah, I just remember being really excited. It's been a few years since I've seen TTB. And I was just ready for 3 nights almost in a row, so.
Yeah, we got through that line. And as we were walking in, it was like Margot Price just kind of ushered everything in. And I hadn't seen her before. And it just gave me good feelings right off the bat. And we found a really good spot to sit. It's like this mini amphitheater, if you can imagine. There was a section up front and then like 3 different sections, people really hanging out in the back with their families and kids and everything. And then you had the different level of fans and then everybody up really close. And they just delivered to everybody, just right off the bat.
Yeah, I bet it. How was the crowd at this show?
It was not the same crowd as Red Rocks. It was similar, but Red Rocks was definitely a way more high energy crowd. I don't think Grand Junction was sold out, but it was probably 80% full. The crowd was awesome. We were in like the GA reserved section, so like between lawn and reserved, and everybody was really great. Everybody was really excited. You could tell some people were there seeing the band for the first time. Whenever you looked around, a lot of people came from Moab. I feel like I heard a lot of people say that.
Moab, Edwards.
Yep.
All that area from the west, and it was funny that everybody was like in the front. There was all these chairs, and everybody was sitting down. And I think they came out, and it kind of within 15 minutes, everybody was standing. And then it just got really loose after it got started in, and after the first Allman Brothers, it was just kind of on from there. And then everybody kind of gave up the seats and kicked them all to the side. And we were dancing, and this girl was, I noticed this girl, she was standing around us, this couple of girls. And it got so exciting that they were like, well, we want to get closer. And there was this like little half wall there, and they kept trying to jump over it and get closer. And the security was so nice, and they would usher them back. And after about her third try, she just got on in there, and I didn't see it.
Persistence. I feel like that's the vibe I've been told at shows sometimes, because I'm guessing Red Rocks was a lot of like TTB hardcore fans like you guys, and traveling in from a lot of people from out of state. It's a destination show. It's maybe the most popular destination for TTB. So you're going to get a lot of hardcore fans and regulars, versus like maybe this show 3 hours from Denver. You're getting more newbies or people who are just going to see a show. And when that's the case, it does sometimes take 2, 3, 4 songs before they even realize the virtuosity that's on stage in front of them, and the excitement that's going to get them to stand up. Is that kind of the vibe? People just don't know the band. They don't know the awesomeness that they're about to get.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of people that were like surprised. We'll say that. I don't really think there's a whole lot that goes on in Grand Junction. So whenever a blues band comes to town, it'll bring the people out. People were enthralled by I would say by the 5th song. It did take them until at least Anyhow before they got the sound kind of dialed in. The start of Up to Anyhow was kind of even very hollow sounding, but I think after that it started to come around, and by halfway through the show the sound was pristine. So
interesting. Yes. What else? Go on.
Susan, I guess I think her presence was shown early on, and gave everybody a soft cushion, a safe place to land, so to speak, as everything went. And then, yeah.
No, go on.
And as Susan, as she can hand it over to Derek so eloquently, he comes in and just swells into everything with so much patience that it just made everybody feel comfortable. And then after Anyhow, it was just everybody's just looking at each other like saying, "Oh, this is okay. Here we go." and it was a great experience.
I will say that the way that she hands it over to him sometimes is like, if you're not a fan of music or know that you're standing in front of Derek Trucks and what to listen for, you don't really know what's going on in the band until he's really in it, and then you're like, what is this? But like the way he starts things can, to somebody who's not an avid music goer or music listener, you could totally catch it off guard. But then there's no mistaking it, once it gets going.
Yeah, it's so cool to see all this is what we talk about endlessly every week, every episode. It's just like to see their reactions and to see how they're music fans and fans of each other. And in just as much awe of Derek as we are, whether it's Susan, someone who spends so many moments with him, is married to the guy. You still see the joy and surprise and facial expressions. Of course, we get that a lot of that on the Nug shows, the Nugs.net shows with Red Rocks. But yeah, they always keep each other alert, and especially Derek's playing that we can't get enough of that, and they all appreciate it as much as we do. Like, if you're in the band, you're a musician yourself, you're a fan like us, it's like, we're just all in awe. What else about this set list? Thank you to the tapers for this, by the way. Richard Skaggs, I see here, and Barrett Miller. I saw some tracks are missing, so I don't know if I actually heard this whole show. Now that I think about it, I might have missed Fall In and I'm the Moon and a couple of songs, but for the most part, I did listen to all this show, which is everything I heard was awesome.
What hit me was I haven't listened to the whole thing yet either, Adam, as we talked a little bit about. But I had to dive in to Get Out of My Life Woman, and then go into Who Knows, and didn't find out till Saturday night. I was like, I heard a voice that I didn't recognize.
Isaac, right?
And it was Isaac, right, singing on here. I was like, wait a minute, we got a sixth singer in the band now. Okay, come on. I mean, what is this? So yeah, I couldn't place the voice. I was listening to the audio and I couldn't place it. And then obviously Saturday night, I got to see it for myself, and I thought that was really cool. And as I'd said, Get Out of My Life Woman has kind of been on my wish list for a while. They haven't played that in a long time. So I was initially bummed that they played it on Wednesday night. But as we'll get into later, I was glad that they pulled some of these out for us on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, I really liked the vocal that Isaac brought to that. And it really is a different tone than all the other singers in the band. So I'm hoping we get maybe even more of that, because he has a different tone than Mark and Mike and Gabe, who has his own totally unique thing going on and whatnot. So I think that was a cool thing he brought to the band. I think I was in the other room, and then I walked back in and I saw Mike at I was like, oh, is that Isaac? And I saw, oh, there's a mic there. And I did check out some of his there was a fan recording of his show recently in the city. He did a couple of shows in the city with some TTB members. So I did hear his voice on that. But yeah, hopefully we'll get more of that. That was super cool what they did with the Get Out of My Life and into Who Knows.
For sure.
Good stuff.
I've not heard that groove on Get Out of My Life before. I've not heard Tedeschi do that. I'm assuming they've probably done it several times on this tour. But yeah, that's a song I've played a lot of times, and I really like the groove that they put to that.
Get Out of My Life Woman's probably been on the shelf for I don't know, maybe two years or something, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, they played in the past. Hasn't been a while, so it was really nice to see them bring it back.
So they haven't played it this year on this tour. I thought maybe I did hear it.
No.
Maybe Isaac played it at his show, actually. Maybe that's what I don't know. I feel like I saw it pop up somewhere this year. But yeah, that's a great tune. And you're getting the Kevy on the Idle Wind, of course. That's always special. And to see that last night at Red Rocks, like, I don't know, I can almost feel like it's how special it is to him to like pick up the flute and start playing it. Maybe it's me, but it's almost like his expression seems a little bit different. His energy is different when he's picking up a flute and playing a flute versus the sax, where he's more like a jazzy wild man. And when he's playing the flute, he's more like, I'm doing a peaceful Kofi tribute vibe going on. It's like a different person.
Ode to Kofi, for sure. An ode to Kofi. And it was, at Red Rocks, the wind is blowing and he's playing the flute. I mean, if it didn't, if you're a hardcore, it was definitely giving you some goosebumps.
Yeah, definitely when watching it, for sure. Should we get into the Red Rock shows? Anything else about Grand Junction? We can jump around. This is casual. It's all going to overlap.
As the first time to Red Rocks, I'm itching to get into it.
Yeah. And Mariah, was this your first Red Rocks experience also?
No, I go almost every year.
And you guys the same, Zac and Gator? I probably asked that already.
I go as often as I can. Last one I'd actually been to at Red Rocks, I believe, was back in 2018. I did both nights, and yeah, those were real special.
Yeah, I've
They
been
always
to.
they pull everything out for Red Rocks. I
Yeah,
mean, you can
yeah.
see it. They're so excited to be there. They're always fired up. That venue is, I mean, you know, I can't go every single year, but it's worth making the trip.
Yeah, tell me about
Mariah,
it.
where were you?
Go on.
What?
Just wondering where you were sitting, where you were at. Your experience.
Night one, I had really good seats. I was in the third row center. And then night two, I was right behind the soundboard in 16. Both different, both excellent.
Where were you guys?
Go ahead. The first night First night I was row 21, 22 with the planners on the left. That's generally where you'll always find me at every show. Is right. I just kind of find a planner and go like right below that beer stand on the left, about on the left side of the screen there. So just below that, by the first tree down from the beer stand up at the top there. Yep, right in there somewhere, which is usually where I always am. But last night we were above the beer stand in the planner because it was busy.
Yeah,
you
really made it happen. You went and found the spot early on. All the rain came, and I was sitting in my car going, "Wow, I'm glad he's got a spot for us."
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's something new. That early entry that they did this year at Red Rocks. I heard it was pretty last minute, but you could get in a half hour early with the Swamp Family app. So it's kind of cool. So if you got in before the storm, you're already in, which is kind of fun.
I want to hear David's perspective as a first timer, kind of arriving and the vibe and what's different. Obviously, this is a unique setting in itself, but just like the feel.
Yeah. So
tell me about.
So I guess we somehow bought through Axe, whatever it is, the Axis that does the tickets. So we actually bought the same seats for 2 nights. So we had the same spot. We were row 12, just to the right of the soundboard, kind of almost like maybe in between Susan and Brandon on the right side there, about the 12th row. Yeah, right in. Right in about there. And I mean, first thing that took me about the music was the sound was so incredible with wind, rain, all the elements. So I did a little looking around today and was wondering what was bringing all that about. And they say, you know, the Red Rocks, the rocks on the side, not having a roof and everything, and also some of the altitude, that it was just incredible to me, the quality of the sound for an outdoor venue. I kind of got the scope of the facility where you're sitting and everything, so that didn't surprise me. But the kind of the magnitude of the surrounding area outside of the amphitheater itself, with all the different parking lots and some of the other rocks that you see, and that the box office is 1.5 miles away from where you go into the venue. And, I mean, just, you know, there's 3 different entrances, and it's so expansive that, you know, I had no idea of that. And you know, my wife being a big picture taker, I mean, she's shooting, you know, we're just driving in and she's shooting pictures all over the place, and just checking out the place. And, you know, we actually, it was probably a better vibe on Saturday night going in, maybe because I was hanging out with Gator and we're talking music and the storm's pouring down and everything. And then there's a double rainbow that comes out after the storm. And it was just, Friday night, it drizzled kind of on and off on Friday night. Saturday, once the rain was gone, it caused about a 30-minute delay. I mean, it was gorgeous the rest of the night, you know, so it was kind of 2 different vibes, which was interesting. The favorite part to me, other than the sound, was it is mostly hardcore or whatever. Everybody's standing. There's no complaining. People are all having a great time, all like-minded. Everybody's dancing in their spot. doing what, if they want to sit a little bit, they're sitting, and you're seeing above everybody because of, the slope. So no one has an issue. Everybody's having a great time. And the energy was first rate. It was just, it was incredible. And Friday night blew my mind. And I'm like, okay, I know this band, but how do they top Friday night? It's like, how do they do that? And then Saturday night comes and you're, it couldn't have been, for our first time, two better nights of music. The set list, I thought the song selections were outstanding. I usually credit Derek for that, but I know others have some involvement. But it was, it was worth getting 3 hours of sleep last night for 2 nights at Red Rocks. And Ann and I met Mariah and her husband in New York. Was that earlier this year? Was that the beginning?
Yeah,
of
that was
Beacon. That's where we all met.
Beacon.
That was still this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was still this
That
year.
does seem like years ago.
Yeah,
It kind of
so
does.
many shows ago. I think we're up to big numbers. But Mariah's husband didn't make it there, so we hung out a little bit, and and we saw other people that you've had on your show. Nick from Buffalo. A couple
He's a
weeks from
character. I like that
Alabama.
guy.
Yeah, they're just a lot. Got to see a lot of people, and then to make new friends like Gator and stuff like that. It's just, it's just like-minded people enjoying the best music on the planet at one of the best venues on the planet. So, how do you go wrong with that, huh?
That's super cool. It seems like I even going to the Beacon, I always feel like every year, maybe even the second night, maybe the music we can compare and contrast and argue and debate and appreciate it all. But I think just the comfort level, like, where the bathroom is, where everything is, where the parking, where to go, you recognize some of the same faces. It's like the second day of school, the second day of camp. Yeah. So there's almost like a comfort level. Even if the weather's worse, there's still a comfort level of you and the surroundings. Is there something to that?
We definitely had a much better lay of the land for Saturday than we did for Friday. There's no doubt about it. We were lost on Friday, getting in and figuring everything out. And I laughed. I think I told Mariah, nobody even scanned our tickets on Friday night. I'm like, where do they check your tickets? The next thing I know, I'm going to my seat and no one's looked for my, no one's asked me for my ticket. It was crazy. So that's how kind of lost we were. I don't know. We ended up
go with it.
Yeah, we ended up in the venue and didn't even did not get the poker chip on Friday night. So that was the only downside. But we did score on Saturday night, so we got the Red Rocks poker chip for the Swamp family. So
I got it right here.
It was all complete. We got it. We got them Saturday night. I know Mariah showed me the one she got on Friday. And I was awful jealous. I said, I gotta get one of those.
Well, I had you covered. When I saw your message, I'm like, first of all, I was thinking, where are you now? Because I was like, we talked about this. How are you not here already? But then you said I didn't.
They wouldn't even you couldn't get. Well, we got there later on Saturday, and the entrance one was closed or whatever. You couldn't. So you can't get at certain lots. You can only get through through certain entrances, and they're weaving you around in different. It's a well-oiled machine there because they're herding 10,000 people in and out of there with good organization. Yeah. Other than I guess scanning the ticket the first night. I don't know how
other than that ticket.
I want to ask you one more, David, and then we'll dive into the music and bring everybody into the conversation, of course. But since this is your first time at Red Rocks and everybody speaks of it so highly and recommends it as a must-go destination to see TTB, can you describe why do you think that is? Is it because it's the nature? Is it the outdoors? Is it you can see the stars? Is it a spiritual quality? Is it the sound? Is it that the fans are so what is it about Red Rocks that's so special? Is it your favorite? And compare it to other, like where does it rank on the list for you?
When I've done your show once or twice. We love, we're from Atlanta. We love the Ryman. in Nashville. I think I've seen TTB almost 25 times in the Ryman, and it's, even though we live 3.5 hours away, that's kind of been our like home venue. I really enjoy that, and that it looks like they might have somewhat outgrown it, but maybe we'll come back there at some point. But I put this up there, it's different. It's out. I mean, I loved being outdoors. I loved, again, that you could stand the vibe. I mean, I just kept telling Ann, look around, look at the red rocks on the left, look at the rocks on the right, turn around and just look up from the 12th row. I don't know, what is it, almost 100 rows, 80 something rows or whatever. I said, just look up at all the kind of like-minded people, and just, I look down the aisle to the left, and a couple of girls are just dancing and going crazy. There's a guy with a long white beard to the right, and he's grooving it. I mean, everybody's just doing their groove different way. A guy hands me a thing. The road goes. He's got stickers. The road goes on forever. Somebody else hands me a TTB sticker and stuff. I mean, it was such a great vibe. It's similar to the Beacon, where everybody goes and everybody's very friendly and all of that kind of stuff. But again, you don't have sitters and standers and the balcony and this. Everybody's so. Ann's like, this might be just a one time for us. I said, hell no, this is not just one time for us. Are you kidding? I said, we're, we got to see if we can make this. We haven't been, because the end of July has always been kind of our big family kind of get together. So we've never been able to go. And all of our new friends like Mariah, but TTB friends that we've had for 6, 7, 8 years keep hitting us over. How have you not gone there? Okay. You've seen them. How have you not been there? And I'm like, we have family commitments. I mean,
you live in Atlanta.
How bad I want to be.
You live in Atlanta.
Well, you're going to have to push that to August now.
Yeah.
On that family get together.
Yeah. So, well, we might have taken care of that, Gator. So I think, but it was, I mean, we had a great time. We were also able to take some friends of ours who live up in Blue Ridge. My bourbon buddy and his wife were out there for a week visiting some dear friends, and we were kind of invited to stay there with them. We took them up on it one night and convinced them to go Friday night. And my friend David Welch, who's in a band, plays a lot of music. Zach, probably similar to you, he plays. They have a gal that sings with them. They do Angel from Montgomery and some stuff, but not a cover band for them. Plays like, and he's just like, I might as well give up the guitar. I mean, he finally saw Derek live. He's like, I got to give up playing the guitar. He goes, this guy is a freaking beast. I mean,
Derek would want him to keep playing.
Yeah.
So.
He was just absolutely blown away, and they're still out there. And I think they took the tour of the Coors Brewery in Golden today. And my friend David's wearing the TTB shirt he bought Friday night. And I'm like, another convert. We got
nice.
Another musician that's a convert. So it's all it takes. You just got to hear them one time live, and if you dig good music, you're hooked.
Right. Like I always say, like I brought a bunch of people, friends, colleagues, relatives out to TTB over the years, and 95% of them have come to 2 or more TTB shows. They don't just come to one. They're like, okay, let me know when the band is in town. And in terms of Red Rocks, it just sounds like there's nothing like it that you can compare it to. Like an amphitheater is an amphitheater, regular at a beach. Maybe it's in a nice place. Maybe you have an urban setting like the Beacon in a city. You have, certain other types of venues, historic places, multiple historic places out there. But there's nothing quite comparable to what Red Rocks is like. It sounds like, and that I can think of.
I don't think just very, very unique. A lot of times you go outdoors, like you said, it's a shed with a roof over. You are part of the people, and it affects the sound. And again, I was blown away because it was windy. I mean, I think Susan the first night even mentioned something late, and her dress is blowing. And I thought it was windier the second night. She didn't say anything. And the second night, it was even more wind. And again, the sound to me was still as crisp and as you could want. I mean, sound was just spectacular.
I thought it was excellent on the live stream as
Was
well
it? Did it
on
come
the
through?
Nugs. Right. I mean, maybe you could hear a little bit of wind rustling here and there, not to the point where I was having an issue with it. Maybe other people have different opinions, but for the most part, overwhelmingly, and I think most people would agree that like the stream was sounded pretty damn awesome for
The only
sure.
wind that bothered me out there was the second night. A couple of guys next to me, a little too much talking. Their wind was the bother.
Yeah. Not an idle win, says Pete Stern, making TTB puns and references.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Randy here in the chat appreciates hearing your Red Rocks experience, your first time on, or David. I'll read off the set list and we'll just dive into it. I'll read both nights because I'm sure we'll jump around. Night 1, Bringing It Home is In the Pity, Playing With My Emotions, Ain't That Something, Get What You Deserve, Until You Remember, I Want More, into Beck's Bolero, It Ain't Fair, Dreams, Come and Go Blues, Made Up Mind, Part of Me, Just Won't Burn, Passaquan, and a 3-song encore of I Can't Make You Love Me, Soul Sweet Song, and Keep On Growing. Night 2, we started off with Wawa, What Is and What Should Never Be, Do I Look Worried, Angel Into Sugary, Anyhow, Chevrolet, Bound for Glory, I Am the Moon, Get Out of My Life, into Who Knows, Idle Wind, Looking for Answers, Shame, Midnight in Harlem, Space Captain, and then an encore of Mojo and Walk on Gilded Splinters. I got it when they started playing Wawa Night 2. I started to get a little emotional, thinking about George Harrison, and he's like, Derek's favorite Beatle, and I think Susan's favorite Beatle, and my mom's favorite Beatle, and my dad's favorite Beatle, and they have all the Beatles records and all the George Harrison records, and they talk about him, and he got photos of George and the Beatles. So it's just like, he's a special artist to me and my family. So, and I knew they were going into it as soon as you heard a couple of those licks or the chords or whatever. But I'll let you guys steer the conversation, even though I feel like I was there too to some degree.
I thought the same, Adam. I mean, the second I heard even a glimpse of Wawa, I was like, oh man. Well, those California shows where you guys got, the Zeppelin. I was like, man, why didn't I go to those shows? And so I lost it a little bit with the Zeppelin, George Harrison.
Well, you got your Zeppelin too, both nights.
It was amazing.
They just flipped them. They started Zeppelin, Harrison, then Harrison, Zeppelin, night 2.
I'm going out on a limb and saying this is the first time they doubled down on the Deuces Wild, because you had 2 songs from Zeppelin 2 and you had 2 songs for All Things Must Pass. So I think that's a first, the double Deuces Wild.
I feel like if it happened already, someone would have mentioned it or brought it up, or one of us would have just noticed it.
I'd put a small wager on that. And it was funny because some of us were talking after Friday night and saying, well, are they going to is the Deuces Wild going to be Zeppelin or is it going to be George Harrison? And holy shit, we got both of them to start look at that, as you said, they flipped it. I mean, we got, we had Zeppelin, Harrison, then Harrison, Zeppelin. I mean, what a way to start both shows. I mean, it was, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get these songs more for the rest of the year on this tour. I'm guessing probably all 4 of them will keep getting played.
I made mention. I was surprised how little was played from the I Am the Moon 4 albums. Only got 1 song, the title song, the second night, and what was it? Maybe 3 or 4 the first night. So was kind of light on I Am the Moon. Certainly not complaining. I thought these set lists were phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. It was beautiful with Gabe Dixon singing on that and ushering in that song. And that to me was where the whole night was kind of like, I wasn't hanging on what happened 30 seconds before or what they were going to play next. It just had me centered, thinking, feeling present, and kind of like I knew everybody was around me, but I was just so focused on all of that. And when I Am the Moon was starting and really coming out of backing up to Do I Look Worried? That's John Leventhal helped write that, I guess. and that's about when the night was. The lights were coming up and the sun was going down.
Yeah. Well, I would say this: Mariah and I got a little. We got a little intel. We were fortunate enough. So I told Ann I was to take a break and stand outside while Margot Price was playing the second night. I listened to her whole set the first night. Was very good. Listened to a little bit the second night. Just kind of went and stood outside. And I guess Mariah maybe had gone to get a beverage or something and walked by. And we were chatting for a minute. We were about to walk back to our seats. And we kind of caught a glimpse of Gabe Dixon. And he came over and said a quick hello. And I said, really love the back-to-back, all the Allman Brothers, the Dreams, Come and Go, and then weaving in Mountain Jam with Passaquan. And he said, well, Derek wanted to do it. He said his first gig with the Allman Brothers was 25 years ago at Red Rocks. And he wanted to pay a tribute to that experience. So that was apparently why we got so much Allman Brothers on Friday night. So if we hadn't somehow just bumped into Gabe and he shared that little story with us, that's pretty cool.
Right. I always feel like there's almost like a deeper reason for everything that we, the fans, can guess. They keep us guessing. Like, how would we know that? I would just guess like, oh, Red Rocks is a special shows, and the fans are always digging the Allman Brothers stuff, the teases or otherwise. So and I think he has teased Mountain Jam a little bit, but that was more than that was a pretty extensive tease.
That was a full on
couple of minutes.
Definitely, again, to what Gabe said, Derek wanted to pay some homage to his first experience, I guess, with the Allman Brothers there 25 years ago. That's pretty cool. That was really.
I actually wouldn't have even thought that. It was so great. It was so cool to hear that. But I actually wouldn't have even thought that because they do play a ton of Allman Brothers every year at Red Rocks. Like, I've heard Not My Cross to Bear at Red Rocks and things that I haven't heard other places.
It's essential.
So it was really cool to get that from Gabe.
It's not just that. You're going.
I've got the set list here from that show.
Oh, wow.
From Derek's first show with the Allman Brothers. Don't want you no more. It's Not My Cross to Bear. Keep Me Wondering. Good Times. Please Call Home. Southbound. Statesboro. Black-Hearted Woman. JJ's Alley. Seven Turns. Melissa. Sailing Across the Devil's Sea. Blue Sky. Leave My Blues at Home. Revival. Jessica. Yeah, that's wow. That's a hell of a.
What was the date of that? 99 or something? What was it?
It was 99. June. Yeah, June of 99.
13th or something, or 20th.
I think it's the 12th, actually.
Wow.
June. It was 2 nights. It was June 12th and 13th. Wow. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it was not. It's not 25 years. It's 25 years and 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Come on, Gabe. If you're gonna tell the story, let's get it.
No, Derek missed out. He was too late. No,
that's close enough. Close enough.
That's a hell of a. I gotta see if we can. Let's see if we can. Anyone anyone dig up that show? Is there a bootleg floating around? Where can we dig up that show?
It's on Setlist FM.
Yeah, but maybe
on the audio. I mean,
archive.org or something. But Adam,
I would look, but I have no internet.
That's right. The first night set, Adam. So again, our first time there, and I'm looking at, I'm listening as I'm listening through, and you get the 2 covers to start, unbelievable. They then two great songs off of I Am the Moon, and then they play kind of my favorite Derek Trucks Band song, Get What You Deserve. And as we all know, Mike, I mean, probably the biggest hooting of the crowd, when he finishes that song. Then they go into what could be my favorite Susan ballad, Until You Remember. And then they go into my wife's favorite song, I Want More. And I was like, okay, you got me. I surrender. My ears are, I am in full bliss. And we're not even halfway through the first night. I mean, it was just, and then Alicia comes up.
And then Alicia comes out.
Yeah, it was just like, it just was, unbelievable. And then they finish it with probably my favorite cover that they do, Keep On Growing. And I don't know how they caught that on video, Adam, for for Nugs or whatever, but on Derek's last lead, he blows out a string.
Right, you can see him changing the string.
And it let out a wail. I mean, it was piercing when he broke that string. And I mean, they were probably less than a minute from the song being over. I mean, it was, almost. Instead, he goes and sits down, lets Kebby take over for a 2-minute sax solo while he restrings, retunes, and wants to finish, with another lead before he's going to wrap it up. I mean, they could have easily just kind of, ended it, but no, to me, again, seen him do that a few times, restring and all, but it was right at the end of the show. And I just thought it was showing how much he wanted to give to the audience and the crowd that night. And I felt like overall, Friday was a Derek night and Saturday was a Susan night. And when you look in total, obviously there's both nights, but if I was kind of placing, I'd say Friday was Derek and Saturday was Susan.
Yeah, that string busting. I was gonna say that string busting was definitely entertaining to see. And I don't know how. Can't recall the last time he busted a string on that song, because listening to the Kebby solo, it was noticeably missing also, not just the Derek lead, but also the Derek rhythm part.
Yeah,
it sounded like almost like it was a little naked at that part, and there was a certain like vulnerability, I think, to the band and what was happening. And as the fans watching at home, and I'm sure they are noticing what's going on, what's going on? I see the string, he's changing it. What are they going to do? How long is this going to last? Like, but Kebby, has no problem at all stepping up and doing his thing. And it was super.
I thought it was a beautiful moment. I thought it was great.
We all love those moments.
Whoever, he's exactly right. Once Derek got his string back, then he kind of played, and he and Kebby did a little, like he said, a little back and forth.
Yeah, Randy's coming
kind of just, just kind of improvised and kind of went with that, So just so awesome. I mean, such a great.
I'm sorry,
band.
I missed that. Was he doing like a slide solo, or was he picking when that thing went out?
Probably picking.
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was picking. He was going pretty hard. There's some video of it. Somebody's got some video on YouTube, and I've gone back and watched it a couple of times because he was really going at it on Keep On. And like I said, I just dig that song. I don't know, I can't even listen to the Derek and the Dominoes version anymore. It just doesn't.
I get you. Garrett here commenting on how much Derek and Susan enjoy Mike's vocals on Get What You Deserve. Yeah, and David, you were commenting at the end when he goes into the high pitch and the falsettos. He has crazy range and skill and unique sounds that guy creates, to the point where I almost had to stop and be like, oh, that's Isaac and that's not Mike. Because I'm like, anytime you hear a unique sound or a unique voice or something that you're not super familiar with, it could be Mike.
Yep. Yes. That's why I thought on the Who Knows, I was like, first, when I heard it, just the audio, I was like, wait, that doesn't sound like Mike. And I was like,
right,
doesn't really sound like Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't place it. So that was
cool. That's why it's cool that he brings his own kind of very soulful voice and sound. Great. He has a great tone, certainly. Yeah, I dig it.
Gabe killed the vocals on, of course, Dreams and Come and Go Blues. I mean, his vocals and his keys. I mean, he obviously we miscut, but what an addition he is to the band. He is, he's just become another superstar in a band of superstars.
Yeah, and it's great that, of course, he brings his own element with the vocals and the songwriting, and isn't trying to be Kofi, as no one could be, and has been fitting in seamlessly and continuing to grow, right into the band in his own role, individually and collectively with them.
I just thought there was such a shakeup in the order of the songs that were played.
Right. Yeah, like Bob Beatty was.
Look at Angel early in the second night.
Bound for Glory early,
yes,
and
interesting. And Looking for Answers, I don't think that's been played a whole lot. So that's why I thought, Susan, I'm Looking for Answers, Anyhow, Angel, Space Captain, Midnight. I mean,
I Want More early in the middle early in the set.
In the Bex Bolero. I mean, woof, that was, that's always a barn burner. It was so early. Yeah, it's just, oh my God, the energy was so high early on.
Yeah, and Susan brought it out, a lot of that energy early on too. When you're seeing, like you're talking about those windy nights and her beautiful dress blowing in the wind, and then you notice, well, she's got her foot on the wah-wah pedal and she's up front working.
With hey,
working, yeah,
yeah.
And it was
I was looking at that Saturday night. She had on some heels, and I'm like, how did she do that? I mean, oh my God, it was just crazy. I gotta make one mention because I'm gonna forget it, and I don't want to forget it. So anyhow, and my wife says, because they went, she goes, I bet they're gonna go into Chevrolet again, and we always laugh about the commercial for that, and I just love the groove on that, and then they finish with Chevrolet with Mike singing, and they leave the microphone out there that Mike uses, okay. And then they go into Bound for Glory. And it's going through the song, getting later. And I said, oh, my God, Alicia's actually going to come to the front for the first time ever to do her solo part in Bound for Glory.
I noticed that,
to the front of the stage, and they let her come out front to do that part of Bound for Glory. And if I'm a betting man, I think that's the first time, they brought her out front to do, which obviously gives you chills every time. I mean that, but
yeah, it was fantastic when she came out there. It just filled the rest of my soul up, as it was getting near full.
Her part wasn't bigger though. She was just up front, correct?
Yeah. It was up front. I don't know that it was bigger, but she was up front, and I did, when she was finished, her and Susan kind of held hand. They had a little moment where they kind of held hands. It was, I just thought it was great because Alicia is so powerful in that moment, and to bring her forward. And again, who knows, maybe somewhere down the road, Mark comes out front, at the end of Made Up Mind or something, when he does something like that or whatever. But I just thought it was different, and when you see a lot of shows, when you see something that's a little bit, different, it really sticks out. And love that they, as they always do, they share the energy with everybody. I mean, the drums were, I don't know. If they've been any more powerful at the end of Gilded Splinters than they were Saturday night. I mean, my head was rattling.
That was
beautiful.
Oh my God.
That is the most powerful. Yeah, that's the most powerful rhythm section I think out there right now. Those guys are locked up tight. Fantastic, yeah.
And they know how to just get underneath, in these moments when, when Derek or Susan needed that space, and we all needed it for a minute. They knew how to just bring it right underneath and just support everybody, as well as, coming hard. Like when they were Angel from Montgomery into Sugaree, it was just seamless, really, and they had a lot to do with that. Which, when Sugaree got going, it was like the whole place was singing that song, just like Zach. When we cover that song and whatever that bar you're in, it's by the end of the song, everybody's is flicking their cigarettes away and singing the rest of the song.
It seems like there's such great synergy between all the vocalists, like not just in terms of the sound that they create individually and together and how they share the stage, but actually just how, like you're commenting on David and everyone, how they interact with each other, the love and the friendship and the camaraderie and the body language. It's not just about making harmony vocals that sound cool when they're saying at the same time or sharing leads, but the way they move on stage and interact with each other, because you could see some of these other bands where, you know, they got these giant stages and the guitar player will be rocking out and will walk past the lead singer and they're not even looking at each other. Not that it's animosity, but there is sometimes animosity with some of these, or tensions and whatnot, and drama with some of these rock bands over the years who've been together and on and off for a long time. But you don't really see that with these bands. You really see the love between them on the stage and the enjoyment that they get. And that just makes everything that much better. That's why I think it does matter that Alicia comes down to the front versus staying up there, up on the riser, even if she's singing the same part she normally sings on Bound for Glory. It definitely changes the energy, and it's a different show for the audience getting to see Susan interact in a loving way with Alicia and her bandmate, and sharing the stage and sharing affection and all that. It just makes it that much greater and richer of an experience.
Yeah, weren't we, as that unfolded, weren't we all just like, it's like you did when we heard her singing, you could tell when Susan gave her the nod that was her moment, and she did everything with it. And by the end of her work with that, it was like we were all right there with her and experiencing that and cheering her on. You know, it was beautiful.
Yeah, and I try to look. You know, usually when the singers, when they're up on the riser, one of them comes down, they come back. They always do little hand gestures, and you know, they're always doing something to, you know, cheer on each, you know, support each one of the three singers back there, and they're all, you know, they're all spectacular. I mean, it's just spectacular. And again, I noticed it again, you know, over the weekend. Derek gets more joy, seems like, facially out of a Susan lead, you know, than a Derek lead. You know, he just beams when she's, you know, doing her thing. Again, I thought her, you know, it's probably that way all the time, but it's felt extra special, I guess, at Red Rocks to hear her, you know, Just Won't Burn. I thought her guitar solo on that was extra special, and it might have been very similar to what she's done, but in that atmosphere, it felt extra special.
You're in the moment when she's controlling everything. She's in control in that moment, and everyone, the audience, the people watching like myself at home, you're just kind of letting her do her thing and leading. You know, she's playing lead guitar and leading us.
Yeah, thank God they brought that to the band. You know, they brought that solo song, you know, to and you know, TT beat it, you know, and then we get to hear that, because every time I hear that, it's become one of my favorite moments of a live show.
These set lists always seem just so well balanced, you know, or we always can see the method to the madness in them. And even if they aren't playing quite as much I Am the Moon, I do feel like that's a good sign in some ways. Obviously, we're going to get a lot more new covers throughout the year with the Deuces Wild, and here, you know, newer covers, you know, just for the, you know, second, third, fourth, fifth times they're going to play them. But I think it is a sign that new music might be coming soon for this band. The fact that they're no longer really pushing I Am the Moon with their set lists. All of their social media is obviously not I Am the Moon anymore. It's all Deuces Wild stuff. So and their web, you know, graphics and all that has kind of moved on. So I think next year maybe, right? I don't have any intel or anything specifically, but I think next year and soon enough we'll start to get some new music, because this just seems like the type of band where they're just not going to sit on laurels, is not the right term, but just like, it's almost like it's like they get bored. I think it's more fun and more exciting for them to have such variety in their set list and to keep each other guessing and keep the fans guessing what's coming next. Like it's fun.
Still a lot of creative juices in that group of 12 there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's so many people. If 6 of them bring 6 new ideas, like that's like a half an album just from like half the band, you know, just, you know, coming up with some riffs or licks or lyrics or something like that. Randy in the chat's asking, is that the earliest they've ever done Angel Sugary in the set list?
It did see, I mean, it was, you know, again, it was very early for Get What You Deserve the night before. Again, there was stuff I thought that was played, and it certainly might be. I would not know officially about that. I do want to give Brandon a nod. He had a very nice solo on Shame. I mean, it segued so beautifully. Derek was just crushing it, kind of, and then how Derek comes back in, kind of around Brandon's solo and all. It was, well, I mean, for those that know me, that's been one of my faves for a long time. So again, I mean, they just kept hitting the nail on the head one after another. I
was going to ask y'all what you thought about Shame, Mariah. How did you feel about that one?
I was just gonna talk about that. I think the first time I heard Shame was at Red Rocks before Signs came out. And I remember, when she comes back into it at the end that, they bring it way back down and then there's all the reverb and it's like echoing off of the rocks. And I remember after that song being like, what was that? Right? Like the first time you heard Shame. And I felt that last night. I actually felt like I was thinking about what you were saying, Dave, just about, the sound and the wind. And I swear they coordinate with the wind because it's perfect every single time. But yeah, they bring it way down and you can, of course, hear that pin drop, but I swear it sounds different at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I mean, so Shame obviously didn't know subject matter when it would be, but it came out. They were playing it live way before it was released on Signs. It was out.
Right.
I don't know whether it was a year and a half, whatever. And I'm a sucker for Derek's guitar, and boy, he just blows it on that. And I love Susan gets into it at the beginning with her kind of dancing and Derek's going and the drums and. That song's got a little bit of everything. It's got the soft, it's like Mariah said, it gets really soft. It just moves. It moves around nicely. That song does.
Yeah, it has like that. The beginning of it makes you feel like that whipping post influence.
Yeah,
with just that 3/4 beat or whatever.
Yeah,
and
yep.
It's so sudden. I keep going back to that word.
Yeah, it is. It is. When that first kicks up, you're like, we're there.
I like that they're playing the whole song also, like, because they kind of got away from that and we're playing just the snippet or just the first part, but they're playing the whole.
But as Gator said, I wore the shirt. Obviously, wasn't going to make it happen, but I would love for him to get back into the storm, into whipping post, into the whipping. With that. That's another one of my favorites.
I forget what song it was, but there was a moment. Maybe it was Shame, maybe it was something else one of these nights. But for a second, I thought maybe we were going to get a whipping post.
I did.
I
did.
Me too.
I was calling a lot of things, and then I lost all credibility when I said, I think this might be going. And boy, I lost all credibility.
What song was that? What song
was
that?
On Shame. It was on Shame.
It was. And we did the same thing. Yeah.
When Derek came back in, right? When Derek came back over Brand, I thought maybe we were going into whipping. I did for a second there.
Yeah.
So they got me on that, but I'm glad some others kind of heard a little of that too. It wasn't just my 64-year-old ears messing up, right?
I mean, yeah. If enough of us heard it, it's officially a tease at that point,
Sometimes I think some of these riffs, and they're so in the moment. Derek could be so in the moment, and some of these songs and riffs and licks are a little bit similar and in similar keys or in the same key, where it can almost accidentally slip into a tease of something else, an unintended tease. But that was a tiny tease. Susan here in the chat is mentioning that there was a nose blowing incident. Someone else mentioned this in one of the Facebook groups.
Something where he picked up the towel or something. I don't know if it was a nose or I don't know what it was. Something, but Derek was. Yeah, powdering Susan's nose or something.
Oh, it's him, her nose. Yeah. I thought it was I assumed the other way around. I'm picturing her being the.
No, it was Derek doing it to Susan. She was, I think, in a lead or something. We have to go back and I don't know if there's somebody got a video. I'm not sure what song it was. Probably fairly late in the set. Maybe Saturday it was. Mariah, would you think? Maybe.
Yeah.
Late?
I was. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely a moment.
Maybe was it Looking for Answers?
It could have been. It might have been. It could have been. I'm looking for answers. It could have been.
Sometimes I wonder that because when I'm playing guitar in my living room, sometimes I'll get a little itch on my nose or something, and then I'll have to stop in my middle of my solo here playing to a YouTube backing track. How come that never happens to Ronnie Wood or Derek or Susan or the pros?
It's the quickest way to get a dirty look while you're on stage. I promise. Just stop for a second and go. I had to scratch my nose.
Her nose was running.
You're like,
her nose was running. Well, you got wind. It's cold. You got elements.
Okay.
What? How do y'all think about how did they place Midnight in Harlem? I wouldn't even know where to put that. Really.
Where'd it go here?
They play it that late. Frequently.
I mean it's been in an encore spot. It's sometimes been the last song of the set. They've moved it around a pretty good bit lately, but it was again one of the ones you knew you were going to get. Pretty much could bet on it since we didn't get it on Friday. Where I wasn't sure we'd get a Bound for Glory either night. So boy, I was certainly happy to get that for sure. And then Space Captain not as an encore. It's not unheard of, but a little rare for it not to be in an encore spot.
Finish the show. Midnight's usually in the second half of a second set or the second half of a show, generally speaking. But they've opened a show with Midnight. They've done an encore. Like I always say, you can pick the songs out of a hat, and maybe they kind of did.
Yeah, we talked about before. Gator is that the first time I saw TTB, they actually opened with Midnight Festival in 2013. First time I saw them. First song I ever heard them do live was Midnight in Harlem. They opened with that. And
it was that in Atlanta?
No, it was at the 1E Festival. Do you know the 1E Festival down in Florida that the Allman Brothers had?
Yeah, I've been to that before.
Yeah, that was a good time. Damn good time.
Yeah, before children. Yep.
Yeah. Oh gosh. But man, what just unbelievable 2 nights. I got a question I would have is why do they use an opener there? Why don't they do like an evening with there? Have they ever done that without an opener there where they just do 2 sets or anybody?
Last time I saw him, it was Marcus King that opened.
Okay.
But that was back in 2018.
So they usually always have an opener, I guess, at Red Rocks.
Well, it was the Wheels of Soul for a while. So there were like 3 bands for a while.
Oh, yeah.
We also Dixon too.
Right.
Gabe Dixon was opening for him for a while.
Yeah, I think he did one of the Red Rocks.
You're onto it, Mariah, because it's usually been part of the Wheels of Soul summer.
I was going to say the season summer tour just tends to be for whatever reason. Yeah, the fall. I guess. Yeah.
I was just gonna say. I mean, it's summer and splitting the bill with everyone, and I mean, there were so many like Wood Brothers, Drive By Truckers, Sharon Jones. Marcus. That year, Medeski. I mean, everyone talks about Red Rock's favorite shows. That year, Medeski was there, and John Bell and Alicia's dad sat in and sang Delta Lady. There's some big Red Rock shows.
They still played 2 hours and a quarter both nights. I think pretty close to it. Maybe a little, maybe more the second night. I might have missed the.
Well, they started a good bit later the second night because
about a quarter 7:45. I think they started, or my time it was 7:45 West Coast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they flipped that. Stuff. You got my mojo working. And played that later. I was
y'all saw it as an opener right on Wednesday, and then
we heard it right out of the gate Wednesday, and that's what everybody got kicking their chairs out of the way. It was just like okay.
That's a great Susan vehicle for everything: the vocal, the guitar, the rolling R's. What do you call that? The rolling, the blip.
Yeah,
blowing. I don't know what you call it.
One song, right?
Right, she did it. Hey, the song's only supposed to have one. No, it's too much. It's too much fun not to do at least twice when you're doing that song. I am kind of looking for it and waiting for it. I'm like, I hope she does that. I hope it sounds like perfect because it is hard to do to the exact. These are skills.
Yeah,
like it's fun, but it is a skill, and I'm sure she practiced that. I gotta get her on so I could ask her that. How do you practice that? What do you call that? What's the routine? Do you stress out about that about more than anything else?
And of course, we got Elizabeth and Derek going at it on Space Captain. Elizabeth had her, she is just great energy up there. And boy, can she play that trumpet. She's just amazing.
I don't think that song was always so focused on the outro with the Derek and Elizabeth back and forth. I think it used to be kind of they jump. I could be mistaken, but I feel like on that song they used to jump around more, or the horns used to share it more, or bounce depending on the night. I thought it was more like flexibility, or that song's gone under some different evolutions, but now it's pretty much Elizabeth's time to shine, and they should keep that for the foreseeable future, because the fans and everyone just seems to love that, and just the trombone just totally fits that, and just her bluesy style is awesome.
It's just such an instrument to fall in love with, isn't it? I mean, it's just great. But also Ephraim, he's got that intro on Until You Remember Now on the trumpet. That's
right.
I love that play. When that trumpet goes, I'm like, oh man, we're getting. And that, I mean, I just think Susan's vocal on that that one melts me every time. I love that as a ballad of theirs.
And it's always the right amount of times they play it, I think, throughout the tour. Maybe people who don't follow the band and listen to every show as much as they can feel this sort of rhythm of these set lists as weeks and months pass. But I don't think they should play that song every night. I don't think but I think they just sprinkle it in just the right amount, because it's some of these songs are very heavy. They're heavy songs, and they have songs that they just can or won't play live, I think, because it's almost like too emotional for them, or for whatever reason they tend to steer away from certain songs. I think like Signs is such a Kofi driven album, and it's just something that they maybe are not ready to dive into. I've commented that they should get a quartet and do some of those Sign songs with a quartet. Would be cool to see with the strings like on the album live. That'd be fun.
That Idle Wind, like we talked before, feeling Kofi in that, and it just made me think of, when I think of Kofi, I think about his brother. And back in Atlanta, David, you probably know about the Variety Playhouse back in those days.
Oh yeah.
When we would see ARU there, and O'Teal, that was probably several times, I guess, through the years. But that, I remember the moment where he was standing in the lobby, and there was no cell phones back in those days, and he was like looking around for some change. He was standing at the phone, and he's like, you need a quarter? And he's like, yeah, I got to call my brother, because I guess he was late for the show. I got to call my brother and get him over here. So maybe he was the last minute guy as well. So I just have all these images when I hear all these songs of days gone past, but then when you hear them live, it just makes you in the moment, and it's new in a way too.
A lot of it does tie back to Colonel Bruce. So you mentioned Gator. You mentioned Smith's Old Bar. You might have been there. I certainly was not, but that Susan said the first time she saw Derek play was at Smith's Old Bar. You might have been at that gig.
Yeah, that was. I believe that was. You mean with Derek Trucks Band?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, I guess
I saw him with Apartment Projects before he was doing that. Just a throw together deal with Jimmy and, like I said, Bush Trucks and O'Teal.
Was that at Smith's Old Bar or Variety Playhouse? Where was that at?
Yeah, that was at Smith's Old Bar. And like I say, it was hard to, in those days, get the word out sometimes. And they would just throw it together. I think Jeff Sipe, 258, he put that thing together. And because he was a very strong force. What a great drummer. And just seeing those guys just go at it, And I was like, wow, what a great learning way to feast on growth for Derek. And then the Derek Trucks Band there, you know, that place, it was like a half round stage there, and all you would see is curtains, and all of a sudden these curtains would just open up. And yeah, the Trucks Band, when that started, and Bloodline and all of that was going on at that time, it was strong. And that was in a time when the brothers were having an area where they needed to reset with Dickie and Greg, and I wouldn't say problems they were having, but just learning to be back together again, you know.
Well,
and that opened that channel up to have opportunities to see Derek, because there was a rest there.
I am so freaking jealous that I was out of the loop at that time, because I'm so jealous, Gabe. That's some good stuff going down in Atlanta. You know, back, I guess, you know, the late 90s into early 2000s. And I was off listening to Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. I had kind of lost my way.
Yeah.
It went to the dark side for a little while. So
I wouldn't call that the dark side.
But I am so jealous of you know, what was going down in Atlanta. Variety Playhouse, Smith's Old Bar. You know, I mean, there was some good stuff being played by you know, some young guys around Atlanta.
I recognize Variety Playhouse just from listening to archive.org recordings of Derek Trucks Band and whatnot. And I think that's
some New Year's Eve shows there, I think.
Right, with Susan making appearances and all that, of course.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that's another reason why I'm doing and continue to do this podcast, because like I get the fear of missing out and the jealousy and for not being at shows. So it drives me to want to do the recap so I can get the boots on the ground recap of the experiences of people who were actually there, but not just from shows that were just recent. I'm getting like all these stories from people who've seen Derek Trucks Band in 1999, like yourself, Gator, and getting all these stories. So that like fills in the gaps of, you know,
awesome
parts of my fandom.
Did anybody catch the Derek Trucks Band member that played 1 mile from Red Rocks after the Red Rocks show last night?
No.
Bill McKay was he was playing down at the Morrison Holiday Bar about 1 mile away. Bill's a good guy.
We drove by there in the traffic coming out of entrance.
Yeah.
But we were trying to catch 3 hours of sleep before we flew home. I guess we should just camp 3 hours and just rocked it the rest of the night.
Right. Well, it was a good time. Bill's always amazing. He's always awesome.
Man, that's awesome.
I've gotten to play with him on lots of occasions, and he's always a joy to play with. That guy.
Does he live out there, Zach?
Yeah. Yep. He lives here. Todd Smalley lives here, although he's been in Europe a lot lately because JJ Gray and their tour. But
I just saw him 3 weeks ago in Missoula.
JJ Gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, Todd's a sweetie. Love that guy.
He smiles the entire show. He doesn't stop. Awesome.
He does not stop. That is Todd Smiley. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. But that show down at the Holiday Bar last night was a lot of fun. I stuck around for about an hour and watched Dave and Matt and Bill kill it. They killed it. Yeah, it was incredible.
See, I'm having FOMO. You told me to go down there. And I was right. Thanks a lot.
It took us it took us an hour to get out of the parking lot just to be able to get down the hill, and then we had to go on the interstate around because all the traffic went the other direction. So it took us forever to get 1 mile.
Yeah, it can take a little while to get out of there with the 10,000 people in there. They're all kind of 1-lane roads getting out of there after the show. So that's a
hot tip, is always bring snacks for after the show, because you're gonna sit there for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like
And
you
the other
guys
thing,
probably understand. Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, the other thing I noticed was people kind of parking anywhere, and they're all kind of tailgating, just like on the side of the road in some of the entrances. They're not even in a lot, and they're just, they've got their table out and they're eating and drinking and visiting with the people that park next to them. Not even in a lot, just pulled over on the side. I mean, just people getting there early. Just it's an event. It's you don't just come to the show. I mean, people are there. We got there very early on Friday. I mean, I think we got there about 4:00. We were there so early and just, hanging around and talking. And then the second night, we got there a lot later. And, but fortunately, apparently got there at the right time. We got to hang with Gator on the ADA bus.
Yeah, that was a great way to start
shit
it off. And that's the way the weather does, it brings us all a little closer when there's when the rain's coming.
Red Rocks is the rainiest place in Colorado.
It's always going to come at some point, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't.
I'm sure Mariah
it rained in the
David,
3 days we were there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's blue sky, and then 30 minutes later, it's threatening.
Yeah, you just keep one of those cheap, plastic ponchos in your back pocket, because that's the coldest I've ever been at Red Rocks. Is going to see Panic one time, and a rain came through, and I'm in my flip flops and a silk shirt from Hawaii, and I was just shivering. And I ran in there and ran right up to those people, and I was like, I'm cold. And they were like, well, that's the thing about Red Rocks, what David was saying. They're so accommodating there, and it just makes you feel right for everybody, because they're really ready to help. I've got this torn meniscus. They're like, just come this way, walk over here. And they gave me a shirt to wear, and it was great. And when that show was going on, I think their idea is to just keep everybody safe. And for about the first half of the show, they're kind of keeping you in place, and then after the second half of the show, they just let it go and just let everybody do what they want to do. And everybody knows how to act, right, Mariah? You've been there plenty of times. And
everyone is so friendly and so nice, and security is so nice. And we ended up taping both nights, and security and the staff were amazing and so accommodating, and it's just such a great venue.
Good stuff. I appreciate the time, everybody. I know you guys, Dave and Mariah, you guys must especially be exhausted. Anything else you guys want to mention or cover or talk about? I
have one thought, Adam.
Sure.
Do you guys remember hearing after COVID, I Am the Moon was out, and there were a lot of interviews going around, a lot of promo for I Am the Moon. And Susan kept talking about, someday I'd like to do a country album, a country solo album.
That comes, gospel country. That comes up as a topic here
I think
and
it's
there.
happening.
You think it's happening?
I do.
Why do you think that?
I just think it is, Margot Price. I just see it. It's happening.
Who'd you talk to?
That is true. They've had some country. They've had some, and they have popped up on some other like country specials and on stage with guests, and Willie Nelson and Chris Stapleton and Lucas Nelson and definitely some kind of Americana country flares popped up in the TTB world with and whatnot. There might be something to that.
Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see next.
From a Susan solo thing, or
I think a Susan solo. I do.
Yeah, maybe.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah,
that will be cool. And I think that sometimes those things are needed in order to get a break from the TTB, to come back to TTB with a renewed sense of it's all about TTB ultimately. So but that would be cool. Yeah. And I'm sure TTB would incorporate some of those songs, even if they're from a Susan project.
Yeah.
And to see, maybe it would be a good time for Derek and Warren to get together and put some Almond tribute shows together, and then she can be out there too and doing her thing.
Well, sounds like we got to figure it out for them.
I haven't heard it, but I mean, I thought I heard somewhere that Derek played on a good bit of this new album that Warren's getting ready to release.
I did hear that as well.
Right?
Yeah, me too.
Like 3 or 4 songs or something, I think, Zach, something like that.
I don't know what it was, but I definitely heard somebody talking about that. I don't think it was within the last week. I heard somebody talking about that. It might have been Todd. I saw him last week. And he may have. I don't know. Or maybe it may have been somebody at Grand Junction. I don't know. I remember hearing those words.
Garrett says Derek played on 4 tracks from what he's heard.
Yeah,
here in the chat.
I know there's a lot of people are saying they were hoping that Warren will take a spot on the Sun, Sand, and Soul show next May down in Miramar Beach. So they're supposed to announce who the supporting acts are for TTB, I think this coming week. So kind of excited to see who they, we bought tickets already based upon TTB. They could have, I don't know who, and it still work for me, but that'd be pretty cool if Warren ended up on the bill in some shape or fashion.
I just saw Warren Haynes live 2 weeks ago with Slash on Slash's tour at the Greek Theater in LA. And that was awesome because I had not seen Warren before live do a full set other than his, appearances with TTB at a handful of gigs over the years. And that was awesome. And he was, he does his full set with a sax player and, it's just awesome start, from start to finish.
I saw that.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, I saw that too. I thought Warren's set was awesome. That's the whole reason I went, was to see Warren.
Was Samantha Fish on the bill too?
Yeah, Samantha Fish and Eric Gales.
They did some collaborations.
Not with Samantha Fish and Warren, I don't think. But Slash came out and for Warren's final song, he did play Soul Shine with him, and that was pretty awesome. And that's on YouTube and all that. That was great. I'm so glad I went to that show.
What did you think of Slash's set?
Slash's, I have a lot of opinions about this, but I wish that Guns N' Roses would do a blues album and blues tour.
I'm not a Guns N' Roses, but I bought tickets for Ann and I. So the thing's coming here August 8th, I think it is, and we're getting as guests. And the reason that I bought the tickets were because of the 2 guests. We're getting Larkin Poe and Robert Randolph.
Nice, that's.
I think that's going to be pretty interesting. I don't know if they do some collaboration.
I'm sure they will, and that'll be awesome. I mean, Susan Tedeschi is not the lead vocalist for Slash, but I don't know if this guy, Tash Neal.
Oh yeah. Is he playing with him?
He played. He's on the album, and he played. I think he sang the lead on when they did "Papa Was a Rolling Stone," and he did that live at the Creek, and that was pretty awesome. He was my favorite vocalist that Slash played with. I mean, I guess other than Warren or whatever, but yeah, Tash Neal's gonna and at the show I went to, Chris Robinson came out for a song as a special guest. That was pretty cool. And they did The Pusher, which is on Slash's new album. So yeah, I'm not sure what to. Each show is going to be a little bit different, but you'll love it.
Tash Neal is playing with Slash on this tour.
I think so.
Because
I
saw him. He was in the band with Robert Randolph this past year at Jazz Fest when I saw them. He was playing with Robert Randolph, so that's kind of cool. I like that. I'm getting more excited about going to this show. So thank y'all for sharing.
You're gonna have a great time for sure. And Slash makes the guitar sing in his own way. Certainly,
I have never been into his stuff, so I've never seen him live. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear you. I think you'll like it because you, like me, we've talked about, come from kind of a classic rock, blues rock, Aerosmith, Rolling Stones, kind of that sort of 2 guitar rhythm leads with the singing. Joe Perry makes it sing, Slash makes it sing, Jimmy Page makes it sing. I feel like those guys are all kind of quintessential rock god type guitar players, even if they're not jazz guys or whatever.
I.e., not Derek Trucks.
Well, yeah.
Let's just get it right. They're in a different. They're playing a different game. They're not playing Derek Trucks' game. If you get
right, but no one who can
play
that game.
That's what I'm talking about. I think I told Gator that on the I said I've been going to live music since 1973, and no guitarist has ever moved me like Derek Trucks is playing moves me.
Right.
You can talk about who's the best or who's not, but he moves me more than any other person I've ever seen play the guitar live.
Yeah, I remember talking about that with you. My wife's like, you can make friends wherever in like 2 seconds. And I'm like, well, when you're amongst people who care about it like this, it's you see somebody with a TTB shirt in the grocery store and your cart just kind of goes in their direction.
Dude, I see fonts that I think are TTB or shirts or graphics or logos. I'm like, could it be? Could it be? Is it? Because I'm that excited. Just something that reminds me of the band. I'm like, is that T-shirt that guys wearing at the gym? Could it be?
Adam, where did you find this music? How was your influence, and where did you find all this music?
How did I find it? How did I discover TTB? I mean, I've been into blues and classic rock for a while, but somehow I kind of never went down a hardcore Allman Brothers rabbit hole or phase, other than kind of knowing their hits and their radio hits. And I play guitar, just for fun. And I was kind of going through a little slide phase and experimenting. And my dad's like, "Why don't you go check out this? You should check out this Derek Trucks guy." And I heard the name and I knew of the Allman Brothers and stuff. And I just kind of maybe watched some YouTube videos. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I went to see a live show, and kind of the rest is kind of history from there. And this was pretty much when they founded in 2010, like late 2010 is the first time I saw them live, Derek and Susan live. And since then, like with each passing year, I've just gotten more into them. And my dad was a big music fan as well, and plays guitar and was at the Fillmore East recording with and was a regular at the Fillmore East. He's been on the podcast. That's kind of was the focus of our conversation, was him telling me all about going to the Fillmore East pretty much every weekend from the time it opened till the time it closed. He saw everyone who you might think of who was there. All Jimi Hendrix, Elton John, Cream, all of them.
The Allman
Dennis
Brothers,
Joplin, Allman Brothers.
Live in Fillmore East.
What's that?
That live at Fillmore East.
Yeah, he was there, and he was actually, there was a picture of him. Someone else found it randomly in this like British magazine. I have a clip of it, and I have a screen capture of it. But he's there standing, some like not too far from the stage at the show. There's like a pic. It's documented.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
That's
awesome. Real cool.
And I got to give my wife a plug. She made us some great T-shirts we wore the Friday night. She made a special Red Rocks, Tedeschi Trucks Band T-shirt. And several people came up to us separately and whatever. And when I told one lady, I said, "No, my wife made this." She said, "Bullshit. That's not a homemade T-shirt." She was so blown away. I'm like, "No, she made these,
People don't believe you.
Those are awesome. I mean, she did like the Red Rocks, like you had on the poker chip, that kind of that, and kind of in a kind of a reddish orange color T-shirt. Had Tedeschi Trucks Band. It was really, she did an awesome job for our first night at, she wanted to make it special for us going to Red Rocks for the first time. And she delivered some amazing T-shirts for us that night. It was pretty cool.
Randy was asking if we're going to Keep On Smiling anymore in the sets. Maybe.
Gator, we talked about that. Gator, remember we talked about harmonica and Keep On Smiling?
Yeah. When was that? Was that early on in our conversation?
No, we talked. Remember, when we were in the van, we were talking about Jimmy Hall and Keep On Smiling, and we were talking about harmonica, and I said, "Well, Susan plays a little harmonica."
Wow, I've never seen her play that.
Yeah, she's played it on a couple of the Tom Petty cover, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, huh?
You don't know
how it feels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's played a little harmonica, I guess. Not much, but a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we'll get back into that.
I'd like to see the Do Heartbreaker that Mike kills that too. When they busted out a lot of interesting covers last year. They had a handful of new ones that they they brought around. Stay With Me, right? Faces, Stay With Me.
I think we're gonna get some of these. We're gonna get some of these more of these coming. I think in the second half, we're gonna get new covers, and the ones they've played. We're gonna continue to hear. And I guess we've been talking about phasing out, not phasing out, but less of the I Am the Moon stuff. Perhaps I would maybe we all want to get more of the I Am the Moon stuff that gets hasn't been played as much. Is cool.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we'd get a Gravity or Yes We Can. I thought we might get
right. Yeah, that's kind of can't do it all.
No, can't do it. I just when I'm thinking about some of the new stuff that that they've been doing, but again, he mixes it up, and as you said, Adam, he could. They can pick it out of a hat and we'd still be blown away.
Right. And they consider what they played in past years at the venue. So I bet last year's set list, without looking at it, was probably a little bit different the last, for those two shows in 2023.
That's why we might need 4 shows.
I love that.
Somebody posted they should play there for a week.
Yeah.
I like how you skip 3 and you just go to 4.
Well, I guess I'm thinking 3 with Junction thrown in there.
Oh yeah, you counted that one.
Yeah.
For you, a 4-show run for you.
Yeah.
The Dillon Amphitheater was really good for them when they did the Fireside Band there a few years back, and that venue is, I'm gonna say it's right up there with being as gorgeous as Red Rocks. Looking over the lake with the peaks of Breckenridge right behind it is one of the most amazing things there.
I had friends that went to the show when they played there, Zach. Gorgeous.
That place is incredible. It's small, which is good. I think it's good. The only complaint I have over Red Rocks is that it's enormous, and I like small venues because then you can be close. But I understand that's not,
1,000 people. I looked that up today. I was wondering exactly, kind of. I think it was like 9,500 or something. They say is capacity.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
It's not a small, venue. For sure.
Unless
Widespread Panic plays, and then they fit 12,000 in that place.
Yeah, it gross. It seems. How did your legs feel after up and down those stairs a little bit?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, my wife had a knee replacement a little over, I guess, guys, a year or 2 years. I should know, right? I should probably know that. But she got around pretty good. We did take the ADA bus up both nights, but she was able to walk down, to the parking lot afterwards and made her way up and down some of the stairs to say hi to some friends. She got around pretty good, but she had a little bit. The altitude, I think, got to her a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But we were drinking lots of water. A month before we were, hydrating up and everything. But so we're back now towards sea level, so all's good.
Can you get a more cost-effective buzz because of the altitude? People are nodding yes.
Yes.
I only partook the first night when I got in Thursday night and went over to my buddy's place, and he made us some smoked old fashions, and so we had a little bourbon Thursday night. But after that, I didn't want to, people were worrying me a little bit about the altitude, so I held the booze to. I was pretty much on a TTB high for Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, no, it's all fun time. No matter what your state of mind is going into a show and coming out, you always feel better and spiritually uplifted, and that's what keeps on bringing us back. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Any last words? Anyone? Maybe Zac and Gator, you want to plug your band or something?
I play. Appreciate it. Yeah, I play in Revelator, which is the Tedeschi Trucks tribute. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Gator and I play in a Widespread Panic tribute together. We're called Home Team. We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
If you find yourself in Evergreen on July 31st, we play at Cactus Jack's as a residency there. It's called Widespread Wednesdays, and it's just getting better and better. So
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
yeah. And we play some Allman Brothers in that too as well. So
yeah.
Have you guys had any correspondence interactions with Papa Trucks, Chris Trucks over the years? Because like you guys play the music of the bands of his sons.
Yeah,
he must be proud of
no,
you guys
actually.
Well, we've gone from 10 people the first time to 75 people on July 3rd, so it's catching on.
Keep on growing.
Yeah.
And we're going to double bill.
I think we were gonna put both bands on this.
Ah.
Try to put both bands on the same stage together to do, a Panic and Tedeschi, because those will pair pretty well together,
Nice.
But
maybe something next year somewhere around Red Rocks, either maybe one of the nights before or something.
That's
Thursday night or a Wednesday night before they play or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, well, the Little Bear, they Panic Stricken had 3 nights after all the Panic shows, and I was talking to Zac, and I was like, we need to strategize, or if that's a word, and get over there and try to get at least one night in over there, because when we throw the brothers in, and 2 of the members came over on that Saturday night of the middle of the Panic run and saw them play, so that would be a treat.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Jimmy and JoJo.
Okay. Right on. I didn't hear that. Huh.
Yeah.
But
good
thank you for having us. Yeah, this has been awesome.
Oh, thank
Mariah,
you guys.
David,
I appreciate it.
You guys, it was great. Adam, thanks for having us.
Yeah, for sure. Keep me posted with future shows, and we maybe get you guys on and talk your TTB cover band and when Revelator, and tell me get more of the weeds with that. Like more I'm always down for these conversations, especially when the band has some like time off, because they have 19. I think I counted 19 shows in August. There's not that many more days in August than 19. So
right.
I'm gonna do my best to try and recap as many as I can. Whatever.
I did want to plug Alyssa Medina that sings with their Revelator. I mean, you got to go find her and see what she's doing to pay tribute to Susan. I mean, it's uncanny, and it's honest what she's doing.
She's something. Yeah. Yep. It's real special. She had her first Red Rocks show a couple of weeks ago with another band that she's in, and when she got hired with us in 3 Days at the Saddle years ago, we were her first band, and then we all got to go see her sing with a band at Red Rocks a couple weeks ago, and it was she's great, and definitely worth following, because big things are going to happen. I'm certain of it.
Good stuff.
That's
Good
awesome.
stuff. Thank you again, guys. I appreciate it. I'll boot you guys out. We could talk for a few minutes after I do my little outro if you want. But you are welcome, Susan, in the chat. Thank you, everyone in the chat. I'll let you guys go.
Yeah.
Thank you again. Oh, you got it, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Talking peace. There we go. Got everyone out of there. Thank you, everyone. That was super cool. There you go. Episode. That was actually 162. I think I had it wrong in the title. I think I had it wrong in a few places. But who's counting anyway? Thank you, everyone, for the time. I appreciate it. Hope everyone's doing okay out there. Thank you, people in the chat, for listening and watching and hanging out and contributing. At Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. Subscribe on YouTube. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram, Twitter, adamchoit.com for all my other stuff. Tedeschi Trucks Podcast will send you to the link tree for everything related to this show. TedeschiTrucksBand.com. For the band, everything related to the band, that's their official site. Buy tickets to shows, buy merch, join the Swamp Family fan club. But I think that's about all I got for today. Again, thank you to Zac and Gator, Mariah and David, and supporters and listeners and the band, the crew. I'm going to try my best to recap as many of the shows that this band is doing. They have another one. What are they? I forget. Nebraska's coming up or something. But please reach out if you're going to shows, and we'll get you on to recap them. I'll try to, like I said, do as many as I can in August. But let you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's talk soon. Peace.